Hello everyone and welcome to Old Coins TV channel. If you love exploring the world of coins, their history, value, and rare discoveries, you've come to the right place. Here, we'll share exciting information about coins from around the world, from ancient treasures to modern currency. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to never miss our latest videos.
Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in the world of coin collecting, the so-called Washington 50 euro cent 2002 with mint mark IR in very fine condition. Many people online are claiming that this coin could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but is that really true, or is it just internet hype? Let's uncover the full story, history, features, and real market value of this fascinating coin. First of all, it's important to understand that the 50 euro cent coin was officially introduced in 2002 as part of the launch of the euro currency across Europe, marking one of the biggest monetary transitions in world history. This coin represents not just money, but a historic shift where countries replaced their old currencies like the Spanish peseta and Italian lira with a unified European system. That alone makes the 2002 coins highly interesting to collectors. Now let's talk about the design and unique features of this coin. The Spanish 50 euro cent coin from 2002 features the famous writer Miguel de Cervantes on the front, along with the word España and the year 2002. On the reverse side, you'll see a map of Europe with 12 stars, symbolizing unity among European nations. The coin is made from a special alloy called Nordic gold, which gives it that beautiful golden color, but don't be confused, it contains no real gold at all. It weighs around 7.8 grams and has a distinctive flower-shaped edge, making it easy to recognize even by touch. These physical features make it attractive, especially for beginners entering the world of numismatics. Now let's address the most important part, the value. Many viral videos and posts claim that this coin could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, especially if it has a rare mint mark like IR. However, based on real collector data and coin catalogs, the truth is very different. A standard 50 euro cent coin from Spain minted in 2002 is extremely common, with millions produced. Around 9.8 million coins were minted in Madrid alone. Because of this high mintage, most coins in very fine condition are only worth slightly above face value, typically around 70 cents to €1.20, depending on condition. In many cases, the value is simply 50 cents, meaning it's still just regular circulation money. So why do people think it's worth thousands? The answer lies in misunderstanding and misinformation. Some rare coins do sell for high prices, but those are usually coins with minting errors, extremely low production numbers, or coins from tiny countries like Monaco or Vatican City. For example, an error coin with double strikes or misaligned designs could be worth much more, but those cases are extremely rare. On the internet, sellers sometimes list ordinary coins at very high prices to attract attention, but that doesn't mean they actually sell at those prices. This creates confusion, especially for beginners who think every old coin is valuable. Now let's imagine you actually have this coin in your hand, a 2002 50 euro cent in very fine condition. What should you look for to determine if it's valuable? First, check the mint mark carefully. Most Spanish coins have an M mark for Madrid, and there is no widely recognized IR mint mark for this coin, which suggests that some listings may be misleading or incorrect. Second, examine the condition. Coins that are uncirculated, shiny, and without scratches are always more valuable. Third, check for errors. Look closely at the stars, lettering, and edges. If something looks unusual, it might be worth getting it evaluated by a professional coin expert. In conclusion, the Washington-style hype around the 50 euro cent 2002 coin is mostly exaggerated. While it is a historically important coin and a great collectible item, its real market value is usually not in the hundreds or thousands of dollars unless it has a rare error or unique feature. It's a perfect example of how knowledge is power in coin collecting. Understanding the history, minting details, and real market trends can save you from false expectations and help you make smarter collecting decisions. So before you believe any viral claim, always verify the facts, study your coin carefully, and who knows, maybe one day you will actually find a truly rare coin worth a fortune. As we go even deeper into the world of coin collecting, it becomes clear that the real value of a coin like the Washington 50 cent 2002, especially the version people claim has an IR mint mark in very fine condition, is not just about price, but about understanding the hidden layers of history, production, rarity, and collector psychology that surround it. Because in numismatics, knowledge separates a casual holder from a true collector. When you carefully observe such a coin, you begin to notice the fine wear on the high points of the design, the soft smoothing of details like the portrait lines, lettering, and stars, which indicates a very fine grade where the coin has clearly been in circulation but still retains its main features. And this is where many beginners get confused, thinking that any old or slightly worn coin must be rare, when in reality millions of coins from 2002 were actively used across Europe during the early years of the Euro transition, making them historically interesting but not automatically valuable. However, the story does not end there, because in some rare cases, collectors have discovered unusual variations such as off-center strikes, double impressions, die cracks, or even misprinted edges, and these errors can dramatically increase a coin's value depending on how visible and unique they are, which is why serious collectors often use magnifying tools, proper lighting, and even digital microscopes to inspect every tiny detail of their coins, searching for that one feature that sets it apart from the rest. Furthermore, the hype around terms like Washington coin or unusual mint marks like IR often comes from online misinformation or misinterpretation, where sellers or content creators label coins incorrectly to attract attention, leading many people to believe they are holding a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. But when these coins are evaluated by professionals or sold in real auctions, their prices reflect actual demand and rarity rather than viral claims, and this is a crucial lesson for anyone entering the coin collecting world, especially young collectors who may be inspired by videos promising massive profits. At the same time, we cannot ignore the emotional and educational value of such coins, because owning a 2002 50 cent means holding a piece of the moment when multiple European nations united under a single currency, a symbol of economic cooperation and shared identity. And for many collectors, this historical significance is just as important as monetary value, if not more. Therefore, instead of focusing only on unrealistic price expectations, a smarter approach is to build a collection based on knowledge, authenticity, and genuine interest, learning how to identify real rarity, understanding grading systems from very fine to uncirculated, and staying updated with reliable coin catalogs and marketplaces, because in the long run, the most valuable asset you can have in this hobby is not a single coin, but the expertise you develop over time. And who knows, while many common coins may not make you rich overnight, the experience you gain might eventually lead you to discover a truly rare and valuable piece hidden in plain sight. Taking this exploration even further, it's important to understand that the journey of discovering a coin's true worth, like the so-called Washington 50 cent 2002 with the mysterious IR mint mark, often becomes a personal adventure filled with research, patience, and critical thinking, because the reality of coin collecting is very different from the flashy claims seen on social media, where thumbnails and titles promise unbelievable values like hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Yet experienced collectors know that true rarity is built on very specific factors such as limited mintage, documented mint errors, historical significance, and verified demand in auction markets. And when we analyze the 2002 50 cent more deeply, We see that it was part of the very first wave of euro coins released into circulation, meaning it was produced in extremely large quantities to meet public demand across multiple countries, which naturally reduces its rarity in standard conditions like very fine. However, what makes the discussion interesting is how perception can sometimes influence value, because if enough people believe a certain variation is rare, even due to misinformation, it can temporarily increase interest and market activity, creating a short-lived spike in listings or asking prices, although these rarely translate into actual high-value sales, and this is why checking completed sales, auction records, and verified numismatic sources is far more important than relying on asking prices alone. Beyond that, serious collectors often categorize coins not just by year and mint mark, but by die varieties, subtle design differences, and even microscopic imperfections that occurred during the minting process. And while most of these variations are minor and carry little to no premium, a few exceptional cases can indeed become highly sought after treasures, which is why the idea of carefully inspecting every coin you come across is not just exciting but also practical, especially in a world where valuable discoveries have sometimes been made in ordinary pocket change. At the same time, it's essential to stay realistic and avoid falling into the trap of overestimating common coins, because doing so can lead to disappointment or even financial loss if someone attempts to buy or sell based on exaggerated expectations. Instead, the smarter path is to treat each coin as a learning opportunity, building your understanding of grading standards, metal compositions, minting techniques, and historical context, all of which contribute to a deeper appreciation of the hobby. In the end, whether your 2,250 euro cent turns out to be worth just its face value or slightly more to a collector, the real reward lies in the knowledge you gain, the stories you uncover, and the excitement of the hunt itself. Because coin collecting is not just about finding instant riches, but about developing an eye for detail, a respect for history, and the ability to separate fact from fiction in a world full of bold claims and hidden truths. Continuing even deeper into this fascinating topic, one of the most important things every collector must realize is that coins like the 2,250 euro cent, often mistakenly labeled with unusual terms like Washington, or rare-sounding mint marks such as IR, become powerful examples of how easily myths can spread in the digital age, where a single viral video or post can completely change how thousands of people perceive an ordinary object, and suddenly a coin that was designed for everyday use becomes surrounded by stories of hidden treasure and life-changing value. Yet when you step back and analyze it through the lens of real numismatic principles, you begin to understand that true value is never based on hype but on verified rarity, condition, and demand, and this is where the grading system plays a critical role, because a very fine coin, while still collectible, shows clear signs of circulation such as worn details and reduced sharpness, meaning it sits far below premium grades like extremely fine or uncirculated, which are the levels where serious collectors start paying significantly higher prices. Moreover, when discussing the idea of most valuable coins, it's essential to recognize that the global coin market is filled with legendary examples that achieved high values due to extraordinary circumstances, coins with extremely low mintage numbers, historical errors, or limited releases from small states. And comparing a widely circulated 2,250 euro cent to those elite rarities is like comparing a common item to a one-of-a-kind artifact, which highlights the importance of keeping expectations grounded while still staying curious and observant. Interestingly, many experienced collectors recommend building a habit of documenting your coins, noting their year, country, condition, and any unusual features, because over time this practice sharpens your expertise and helps you quickly identify anything out of the ordinary. And while most coins you encounter may turn out to be standard issues with minimal extra value, the process of checking, researching, and learning gradually transforms you into a more knowledgeable and confident collector. At the same time, It's worth mentioning that the emotional excitement people feel when they believe they might have discovered something rare is completely natural, and in fact, it is one of the driving forces behind the hobby itself. But balancing that excitement with accurate information is the key to long-term success, ensuring that you enjoy the journey without being misled by unrealistic claims. Ultimately, the story of the 2002 50 euro cent reminds us that every coin has two sides. Not just physically, but also in terms of perception versus reality, where one side is shaped by viral hype and bold promises, while the other is grounded in facts, data, and genuine collector interest. And learning to distinguish between these two sides is what truly defines a smart and successful coin collector in today's fast-moving digital world. As we move toward the final depth of this discussion, it becomes even more clear that coins like the 2002 50 euro cent, often surrounded by dramatic claims such as rare mint mark IR, or labeled with unrelated names like Washington, serve as a perfect case study of how the modern collector must combine curiosity with discipline, because in today's fast-paced online world, information spreads quickly but accuracy does not always follow, and this creates a situation where thousands of people may start searching their pockets, drawers, and old collections hoping to find a hidden treasure, only to discover that true rarity is far more complex and much harder to come by than it appears in viral content. However, this does not mean the journey is meaningless, because every time you examine a coin closely, you are actually training your eyes to notice fine details such as edge patterns, lettering sharpness, surface texture, and subtle differences in design, all of which are essential skills in the field of numismatics. And over time, these small observations build into a deep understanding that allows you to separate ordinary coins from potentially valuable ones with much greater confidence. Furthermore, it is important to understand that the global coin market operates on trust and verification, meaning that for a coin to truly reach a high value, whether hundreds or thousands of dollars, it must be recognized and accepted by experienced collectors, dealers, and often certified grading organizations, which carefully evaluate authenticity, condition, and uniqueness before assigning any significant worth. And without this professional validation, most high-price claims remain unproven and speculative. At the same time, many collectors find that the real satisfaction does not come from a single expensive coin, but from building a collection piece by piece, learning the stories behind each item, and gradually developing expertise that can eventually open the door to discovering something genuinely rare. Because while the 2002 50 euro cent in very fine condition is generally a common coin, the knowledge you gain while researching it can lead you to identify other coins that may truly stand out in terms of rarity or demand. In the end, this entire topic teaches a powerful lesson that goes beyond coins themselves, that value in any field is rarely as simple as it seems, and that patience, research, and critical thinking are far more rewarding than chasing quick success based on hype. So whether you continue collecting coins or simply keep this knowledge as a useful skill, always remember that the difference between an average collector and an expert lies not in how many coins they own, but in how well they understand what they are holding and why it matters.